Hello and welcome back to Passionately Catholic. I am actually out on my grandfather's farm. If you are very close to me, you might know that my grandfather, Digmann, passed away several weeks ago, a couple months ago. And especially today as I'm visiting his old farm, it's bringing back some great memories. Snowmobiling in his fields as a kid, playing around the farm, mowing the lawn, and especially having some great conversations with Grandpa around his kitchen table. I'm always looking for things out of daily life and the spiritual significance that they may have, or the spiritual lessons that they might be able to teach me, and try to offer those and share those on Passionately Catholic as well. And the thing that's kind of striking me visiting Grandpa's farm again and having the opportunity to reflect a little bit more on life and Grandpa, but really having an opportunity to also think about all of my ancestors, my parents, my grandparents, even ancestors that I may not have even met, great-grandparents, some of them of whom I met but have very few memories of, and even beyond, and all of the things that they would have passed down generationally. And sometimes that gets some negative attention. People talk about, generational healing and problems that happen throughout generations, which, definitely has its place and has its value. But I think that there's also a benefit in reflecting on the benefits and the good things, the virtues that get handed down from generation to generation, and how that impacts who we are. And it strikes me as interesting that, after somebody passes away, like in my case, Grandpa, it gives us an opportunity to pause and to reflect and to think about their life and the impact that may have had. It's a great opportunity for some introspection and reflection. However, I wonder if this might not be something that we should really do more often, taking the opportunity to reflect on our parents, our grandparents, people in our lives who've had an impact, maybe teachers or coaches, people in our community, neighbors who have had a significant impact in our life, and really think, if they're still alive, thank them for the impact that they've had, but also just to take the opportunity to really reflect on what impact have they had on my life? Positive, sometimes negative, I guess, but I really like to focus on positive stuff as much as possible. What impact have they had on my life in a positive sense? Can I thank them for that? Even if they're in heaven or purgatory, let's pray for them and thank them as well for the impact that they had, of course. But I might suggest perhaps it would be a good idea to spend, maybe 5 minutes a week, 10 minutes a week, okay, maybe even every day, just reflecting on the people who have come before us, the people who have made a significant impact in who we are, and what we've really gained from their life. Reflecting specifically on Grandpa, one of his incredible gifts was his ability to give time freely, to spend quality time, and really to be able to listen. One of the things that I heard from a lot of my family members at his celebration of life was how just sitting down and talking to him, he made you feel welcome and loved and like you were important. He was really an incredible man of presence, which I know has had a really big impact on my father, becoming a brother with Glen Mary Home Missioners, and his ministry of presence that he does as a Catholic missionary within the United States in counties of high poverty and very few Catholics. So I definitely see that. And I also noticed in myself that a lot of the virtues that Grandpa had are ones that I do not necessarily possess as well. So over the last several weeks, reflecting on Grandpa's life and the impact that he's had on me, and the impact that he's had on so many of my family members, has offered me an opportunity to really reflect more on how I can grow in those areas that Grandpa was so strong in. But it's also given me an opportunity to reflect on areas in which I may be stronger, and areas that Grandpa was a little bit weaker. Like, we got along great, but in ways we're similar, but in other ways we're pretty different. And it also made me grateful for the ways that I may have strengths. And it always also strikes me that a lot of times, we may start off prideful in our spiritual journey and think a lot about our spiritual strengths, right? But our spiritual strengths have a tendency to also, or our strengths in general, also have a tendency to be great areas of weakness for us. And they can create pretty significant problems in our life. As we grow in the spiritual life, sometimes we can get overly focused on the negative qualities related to ourselves and the things that we naturally struggle with. But that's also an opportunity, I think, to recognize the positive element of those, because for every weakness that we have, there's also a very positive strength related to that, natural strengths that we have that are related to those negative elements, or weakness elements, if you will. So these are all a lot of things that have been going on in my mind as I've been visiting Grandpa's farm again and having some reflection time that I just wanted to share. Hopefully this has been useful to you. If it has, be sure to click that like button and subscribe if you'd like more from Passionately Catholic. As always, thanks to all of our patrons who make everything that we do here at Passionately Catholic possible. I wish you God's abundant blessings and peace, and I'll see you again in the next episode.